Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. 3 months after he forgot me at the airport, I watched as Jacob frantically searched for me in a German apartment that had never been mine. He didn't know I was already back in Boston, finalizing the operation that would destroy his family's empire. I stood in the airport terminal, watching the rain hit the windows as the last boarding call for Jacob's flight echoed through the speakers. My phone buzzed with his message. "Sorry babe, got caught up with work. Take a later flight and I'll pay you back when you get here." This wasn't the first time he'd left me stranded. Last month it was dinner with his parents. Before that, our anniversary weekend. My fingers trembled as I typed my reply. "No problem, I understand," while my other hand already gripped a ticket to Paris, not Boston, where he waited. Sometimes disappearing is the only power you have left. 6 months earlier, Jacob had proposed at the restaurant where we first met, my family and his sister Mia cheering from hidden tables. The social media storm afterward consumed us. Perfect couple hashtags, champagne toast, and dress shopping with Mia. I ignored all the tiny whispers of doubt, how Mia's smile never reached her eyes, how Jacob's work emergencies always coincided with our plans, how my engagement ring was smaller than the one he'd shown me in catalogs. I was too busy planning our perfect life to notice the imperfections already showing through the cracks. I scanned my Paris boarding pass while scrolling through Instagram. There was Mia's latest post, a selfie with Jacob's arm around her in what looked suspiciously like a hotel room, captioned "business trip planning." They didn't realize I'd seen all their late-night texts, the hotel reservations, the secret credit card statements. My finger hovered over the post button of my own. A single airline ticket image captioned "starting over." Not yet. The real revenge needed patience, and I'd learned to wait during the months of suspicion and evidence gathering. As the plane took off, I received increasingly frantic texts from Jacob, then his sister, then my best friend Dana, who was supposed to be on my side. I turned my phone off as the city lights grew smaller below. In my carry-on, a new passport, $50,000 in cash from our joint account, exactly my contribution, and a memory card with every screenshot, recording, and document I'd need if they tried to paint me as the villain. The air hostess asked if I'd like champagne. "I'm celebrating," I told her as Paris grew closer with every mile in Boston, with all its lies faded behind me. My phone pinged back to life when we landed in Paris. 37 missed calls, a dozen voice messages growing increasingly desperate, one text from Dana. "They know you withdrew the money." Jacob's furious. "What have you done?" I smiled at my reflection in the airport bathroom mirror as I cut my long brown hair into a sharp bob and applied red lipstick, a color Jacob always said was too much. I typed back, "Ask them what they were really doing on their business trip." When I blocked her number, I was cutting the final thread connecting me to my old life. As I stepped out into the Parisian evening, the weight I'd been carrying for months finally lifted from my shoulders. 6 weeks in Paris, and I've settled into a small studio apartment in the 18th arrondissement. The smell of fresh bread from the bakery downstairs wakes me each morning, along with increasingly desperate emails from Jacob, now filtered to a separate folder I rarely check. Today's subject line: "Please come home." I'll explain everything. I delete it without reading. My new neighbor, Celeste, has helped me find a job at a local cafe where no one knows me as Jacob's fiancée or Mia's future sister-in-law. I'm just Elise now, the name on my new documents. The woman who smiles at customers and learns enough French to get by. The ghost who left her old life in ashes. I'm wiping down tables when my heart freezes. Dana's voice at the counter: "Americano, please." I keep my back turned, thankful for the baseball cap covering my new hairstyle. She's showing my photo to the barista. "Have you seen this woman? She's my best friend and we're worried." The barista shakes his head as I slip into the back room, heart pounding against my ribs. Through the crack in the door, I see Dana place a flyer on the community board, my face, my old life staring back. The photo was taken on my birthday last year, Jacob's arm possessively around my waist, my smile not quite reaching my eyes. As soon as Dana leaves, I tear it down, crumpling Jacob's concerned boyfriend act into the trash where it belongs. That night I checked my special email account, the one no one from my old life knows about. An alert from the tracking software I'd installed on Jacob's laptop before leaving. He's been searching international flights to Paris. Next to it, A bank statement showing a $10,000 transfer from Mia to Jacob, labeled Find a Lease Fund. So they're pooling resources now. Interesting that they can suddenly find money when it's about controlling me, not supporting me. When I wanted to visit my dying grandmother last year, Jacob claimed we couldn't afford the tickets. When I suggested a weekend getaway for our anniversary, Mia conveniently needed emergency financial help. I book a train ticket to Nice for the following morning. Let them waste their money searching Paris while I disappear again. Before leaving, I stop at an internet cafe and create a fake social media account. I post a single check-in at an exclusive hotel in Rome. Within hours, Jacob's sister Mia has taken the bait, posting her own story about an impromptu Italian getaway with a geotag at a hotel 3 blocks from my fake location. I smile at how predictable they are. These people who thought they knew me so well they could betray me without consequences. Mia, who whispered, "You're too good for him," while helping me try on wedding dresses. Jacob, who swore I was the only one who truly understood him. Dana, who promised to always be in my corner. As my train pulls away from Paris, I wonder how long they'll search the wrong country before giving up. In Nice, I rent a beachfront apartment with cash using my new identity. The Mediterranean breeze carries the scent of salt and freedom as I sit on my balcony, finally opening Jacob's latest email. Attached are photos of him and Mia looking stressed at the Rome hotel, and a long paragraph about how they need to talk and how things aren't what they seem. Below that, a threat disguised as concern. My parents are filing a missing persons report. The cold anger I've kept contained suddenly burns white hot. They're trying to use the police to track me now. I open my laptop and begin composing an email to my parents. The first contact I'll make since disappearing. It's time for stage 2. If they want to escalate this game, I'm more than ready to show them who's really been holding the better cards all along. My email to my parents is simple. I'm safe. I left voluntarily. And if they file a police report, I'll release evidence of why I left. Evidence that would devastate our family's reputation in their social circle. I attach a single photo. Jacob and Mia kissing outside her apartment the night before he forgot me at the airport. Within hours, my father calls the burner phone number I included. The tremor in his authoritative voice is new. "What do you want? We can work this out privately." Always concerned with appearances, never with my happiness. I let his question hang in the silence before answering. "For now, I want you to cancel the missing persons report and tell Jacob to stop looking for me." There's a pause on the line, the sound of ice clinking and what I know is his ever-present whiskey glass. He says, "You took money." I took exactly what was mine from our joint account, not a penny more. Another silence. I can almost see him calculating the social damage, weighing options. "Fine, the report will be cancelled, but you need to come home eventually, Elise. This vacation can't last forever." I hang up without responding. He still thinks this is a tantrum, a phase I'll grow out of. He doesn't understand that the daughter who always followed his rules, who dated the right kind of man from the right kind of family, died the moment she saw that kiss. 3 days later, I checked my tracking software again. Jacob has booked a flight back to Boston. Mia's social media has gone conspicuously quiet. My parents have told their friends I'm on an extended European sabbatical after breaking off my engagement. The first round goes to me. I celebrate with a glass of rose at a seaside cafe, watching tourists take selfies against the sunset. A handsome local server asks if I'm alone. For the first time since landing in France, I don't immediately think of Jacob when a man smiles at me. Not anymore. I reply, gesturing to the empty chair across from me. The server's name is Antoine, and he knows all the hidden gems of Nice that tourists never see. As weeks turn into months, he becomes my guide to my new life. The small jazz clubs, the family, Y-owned restaurants where reservations are impossible, unless you know someone. The secret beaches accessible only by a narrow path down the cliffs. I learned to enjoy simple pleasures again. The taste of fresh mussels cooked in white wine, the feeling of sand between my toes, the sound of conversations in a language I'm slowly mastering. "You never talk about America," Antoine says one evening as we share a bottle of local wine on his tiny balcony. The sea stretches before us, turned copper by the setting sun. "Nothing to talk about," I answer, and he doesn't press. That's what I love about him. He takes what I give without demanding more. When he kisses me one night under a canopy of stars, I don't feel guilty or afraid. I feel reborn. Which is why finding Dana sitting in my regular cafe the next morning hits like a bucket of ice water. He hired a private investigator, she says without preamble. I followed him to warn you. I can't move. I can't breathe. My croissant sits untouched as the buzz of the cafe fades to white noise. Dana looks different, thinner, with shadows under her eyes that weren't there before. How did you find me? The Rome post was clever, but I know you. You talked about nice once after we watched that old Cary Grant movie. You said it looked like paradise. She clutches her coffee cup tighter. Jacob's not who you think he is, Elise. Neither is Mia. The cafe suddenly feels too public. I lead her back to my apartment, checking repeatedly to ensure we're not followed. Inside, she pulls out her phone, showing me texts between her and Jacob. My stomach lurches at his words, and when we find her, make sure she knows what happens to people who steal from me. Dana's voice breaks. He's been dealing drugs through his father's shipping company. The money you took, it wasn't just yours. It was part of a payment he was supposed to deliver. The walls of my carefully constructed new life begin to crack around me. Antoine's face flashes through my mind, his gentle smile, his quiet understanding. What have I brought to his doorstep? You need to leave nice, Dana continues. He's dangerous, Elise. This isn't just about him cheating anymore. I should be terrified, but instead, a strange calm settles over me. This is actually better. Concrete crime versus relationship betrayal. Does he know you found me? I ask. Dana shakes her head. I told him I was visiting college friends in Marseilles. We have 2 days, maybe 3, before he gets suspicious. I pull out my laptop, showing her my insurance files. Every transaction, every suspicious meeting, every incriminating text I'd saved before leaving. I'd been suspicious of Jacob's unexplained income months before I caught him with Mia. I had started gathering evidence out of a nagging sense that something wasn't right. He thinks I took the money because of Mia. He doesn't know what I really know. Dana's eyes widen as she scrolls through the evidence. You could destroy him with this. I nod slowly. That's exactly the plan. The afternoon light casts long shadows across my apartment as Dana and I strategize. I should feel afraid, but all I feel is a cold, clear purpose. Jacob thought I was just a heartbroken woman running away. He has no idea I'm actually hunting him from the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. With Dana's help, I create an anonymous email account and send Jacob's father selected pieces of evidence showing his son's sideline business using company resources. I don't reveal my identity, just enough information to create doubts. The shipping manifests, the unexplained income, the meetings with people his father's legitimate business partners would never associate with. A trail of breadcrumbs leading straight to Jacob's extracurricular activities. Are you sure this is safe? Dana asks as I hit send. Her reflection in my laptop screen shows more worry than I feel. Safer than doing nothing? I reply. Then I pack my bags again, kissing Antoine goodbye with a promise I'm not sure I can keep. Family emergency. I explain when he asks how long I'll be gone. I'll be back as soon as I can. His eyes tell me he doesn't fully believe me, but he nods anyway. I will be here, he says simply, his fingers lingering on mine. Dana and I separate at the train station. She returns to Boston directly while I head to Switzerland. The plan. She'll report to Jacob that she couldn't find me while I establish my next safe location. The Swiss Alps cradle the small village where I rent a chalet under yet another name. Snow dusts the pine trees outside my window as I monitor the chaos unfolding across the ocean. My tracking software shows Jacob's father accessing files, making late-night phone calls, canceling meetings 3 days after my anonymous tip. Jacob's company credit cards are frozen. 6 days in, Jacob's father has launched an internal company investigation. Jacob's social media has gone dark. Mia posts cryptic messages about family standing together in difficult times and shares quotes about betrayal. The irony would be amusing if the stakes weren't so high. My mother emails my burner account. Whatever you're doing, please stop. People are getting hurt. She never worried about my hurt, I notice. Only now, when her social circle is affected, does she reach out. I remember the night I called her after finding yet another suspicious text on Jacob's phone. Men need their privacy, dear, she had said. Don't be the kind of woman who checks up on her man. always taking his side, protecting the alliance with a powerful family over her daughter's happiness. I don't respond to her email. The first snow of winter blankets the village as I receive Dana's encrypted message. Jacob has been suspended from his position at his father's company pending investigation. He's blaming a disgruntled ex-employee for the allegations. His father isn't convinced. Family dinner invitations have stopped. Mia is suddenly taking time off social media for mental health. I should feel victorious, but instead I feel hollow. Is revenge supposed to taste this empty? Elf in a blanket on the chalet porch watching children build snowmen in the village square. I wonder if I've become as cold as the landscape around me. Their laughter echoes across the snow, so free and unburdened. When was the last time I laughed like that? I think of Antoine, of his quiet apartment overlooking the sea, of the life I was starting to build, simple, honest, warm. Nothing like this calculated chess game of revenge. My fingers hover over my phone, tempted to call him to hear a voice untainted by all this ugliness. My moment of doubt passes when Dana sends her next update. Jacob has discovered she warned me and has threatened her. The voice message vibrates with tension. Either you help me find her, or I'll tell everyone about Barcelona. I don't know what happened in Barcelona, but the fear in Dana's voice message is real. My hands shake slightly as I book her a ticket to Switzerland and arrange for a car to meet her at the airport. This isn't just about me anymore. Jacob isn't just a cheating fiancé. He's dangerous. The stakes have changed and so must my plan. I spend the next 36 hours securing the chalet, creating escape routes, moving funds between accounts. By the time Dana arrives, I've transformed our safe house into a fortress of digital surveillance and physical security. She steps out of the car looking exhausted, jumping at shadows, her usual confident stride reduced to cautious steps. "He's lost it," are her first words as she collapses into a chair. "He thinks you and I planned everything together, that we're laughing at him somewhere." I hand her a mug of mulled wine, the spicy scent filling the space between us. Let him think that. It's better than him knowing the truth. Over mulled wine beside the fireplace, she finally tells me about Barcelona, a witness statement she gave against Jacob's father years ago that was mysteriously removed from police records. A business deal gone wrong, threats made against a local official, a bribe that Dana had overheard being arranged. "I was young, idealistic," she explained, staring into the flames. "I thought doing the right thing mattered." Then the statement disappeared, and suddenly there were rumors about me at work, problems with my apartment lease, my car vandalized. "His family has connections everywhere," she whispers. "We can't just hide forever." She's right. Running isn't a solution. It's just a temporary respite. Sooner or later, resources run out, luck turns bad, someone makes a mistake. I pull out my laptop, showing her my final insurance policy. The offshore account I've traced in Jacob's name, the one receiving large deposits after certain shipping containers arrive. Dates, amounts, account numbers, all meticulously documented. Not just evidence of a cheating fiancé, but of international drug trafficking, money laundering, and tax evasion. "We're not hiding," I tell her as her eyes widen. "We're preparing for the final act." The fire crackles between us, casting our shadows large against the chalet walls. Outside, snow continues to fall. Each flake of perfect temporary creation. I think of Antoine. Again, of the way he described snow once. It comes to a race to make everything new. Perhaps after all this, there will be a clean slate for us too. But first, we have to survive. Dana stares at me in shock as I reveal the full extent of my resources. Before meeting Jacob, I'd worked in cybersecurity for a private intelligence firm. The marketing job he thought I had was my cover. When we got engaged, I should have disclosed my real career and resigned for security reasons. Instead, I kept both worlds separate, using my skills to build our life together. The money I stole wasn't his drug payment. That was just a fortunate discovery. It was my extraction fund, standard procedure for people in my position. "You're kidding me," Dana whispers, her coffee mug frozen halfway to her lips. The firelight dances across her face, highlighting her disbelief. "All this time? Not exactly something I could put on my dating profile," I say, trying to lighten the moment. Interests include hiking, true crime podcasts, and covert intelligence gathering. She sets her mug down, hands trembling slightly. "So when we met for drinks, when you told me about your terrible boss and office politics. Creative fiction mostly. I pull up another secure folder on my laptop. Though to be fair, my handler really is insufferable about expense reports. So you're what, a spy? Dana asks, her voice wavering between disbelief and awe. I laugh, the sound echoing in the chalet. Nothing so dramatic, just someone trained to notice patterns and protect assets. I open another file on my laptop. Surveillance photos of Jacob meeting with known criminal elements, audio recordings of conversations about shipments. My company has been building a case against his father's shipping business for years. I didn't know when we met. By the time I figured it out, I was in too deep. Dana leans closer to the screen, her expression shifting from shock to understanding. The charity galas, the business trips, they were all fronts for their real operations? Yes. I scroll through more images. Luxury cars with hidden compartments, offshore banking transactions, shell companies within shell companies. Jacob's father built his empire on the misery of others. Drugs, weapons, occasional human trafficking when the price was right. And Jacob knew all of it. Not at first, but by the time we got engaged, he was fully involved. The memory still stings. Finding his private phone, seeing the messages that confirmed my worst suspicions, not just about Mia but about the business. He was becoming his father's right hand, the perfect successor. The fire crackles as Dana processes what I'm telling her. Does your company know you're here? I nod. They've been providing resources, monitoring the situation. That's how I knew when Jacob hired the PI. I pull out a secure phone. Not the burner I've been using for my parents, but something far more sophisticated. It's time to come in from the cold. My extraction wasn't the heartbroken girl running away. You're much more interesting as an undercover agent bringing down a criminal empire. We laugh, but the sound is bittersweet. No matter how this ends, there's no going back to who I was before. The smell of pine and wood smoke clings to my clothes as I watch Dana's car disappear down the mountain road. For a moment, I allow myself to think of Antoine, of the simple life I'd started to build in Nice, of what might have been in another lifetime, one where I wasn't caught between love and duty, truth and lies. Then I turned back to the chalet. There's work to be done. Boston looks exactly the same as when I left, but I view it through different eyes now. From my hotel room overlooking the harbor, I watch federal agents prepare for tomorrow's operation. The city skyline glitters against the night sky, beautiful and indifferent. 6 months ago, I thought I would build a life here, become Mrs. Jacob Winther, host dinner parties in our Beacon Hill townhouse, join the right charity boards. Now I'm watching as a team of agents reviews surveillance equipment and operation protocols for the trap we've set. Jacob, his father, and their associates believe they're meeting an international buyer at the waterfront warehouse tomorrow. Instead, they'll be providing the final evidence needed to close the investigation. My secured phone buzzes. Dana has successfully planted the information about my German hideaway, and Jacob has taken the bait. He's canceled his attendance at tomorrow's meeting, booking a last-minute flight to Munich instead. Perfect, my supervisor says when I call to update her. His father will be more likely to speak freely without Jacob there. And the German authorities are ready on their end. I stand at the window watching a ferry cross the harbor. He really believed I'd just be waiting for him after everything. Men like Jacob don't understand rejection. In his mind, you're still his property, something that wandered off and needs to be collected. Her voice softens slightly. Get some sleep, Elise. Tomorrow ends this chapter. But sleep doesn't come. I lie awake remembering the first time Jacob took me sailing in this harbor. How safe I felt with his arm around me. How certain of our future together. The memory feels like it belongs to someone else now. A naive woman who didn't yet understand how fragile certainty could be. The sting operation goes perfectly. Jacob's father and 3 associates are taken into custody, while Jacob himself is detained by German authorities, finding nothing but an empty apartment where he expected to find me. I watch the news coverage from my hotel room. A strange emptiness replacing the anticipation I've carried for months. The muted TV shows Jacob's father being led into court, his expression thunderous. The ticker at the bottom mentions charges of trafficking, money laundering, and tax evasion. My supervisor calls to congratulate me on the successful conclusion of my assignment. 3 years of work and you were the key that unlocked it all. She says, satisfaction evident in her voice. The prosecutor wants to meet tomorrow to discuss your testimony, and after that, we'll talk about your next placement. I should feel triumphant, but all I feel is tired. The room service breakfast sits untouched on the desk. Outside, Boston continues as if nothing has happened. Tourists visit Quincy Market, business people hurry to meetings, and students lounge in the common. None of them know that one of the city's most respected business dynasties has just been exposed as criminals. I skip the AY celebration dinner, choosing instead to walk alone along the harbor. The same path where Jacob and I used to stroll on Sunday afternoons, planning our future. The water is slate gray under the cloudy sky, choppy waves slapping against the docks. You have to respect the sea, Jacob once told me. It can turn on you in an instant. He might have been describing himself. I'm leaving the federal building after my meeting with prosecutors when I see them. Jacob's mother and Mia sitting in the lobby looking shell-shocked. They don't notice me at first, giving me precious seconds to compose myself. Mrs. Winthrop's perfectly highlighted hair is uncharacteristically disheveled. Mia's designer outfit is rumpled, as if she's been wearing it for days. Neither of them looks like the polished, confident women who once evaluated my table manners and family connections with barely concealed criticism. Mia looks up first, her eyes widening in recognition despite my professional attire and styled hair. You, she breathes, halfway between a question and an accusation. Jacob's mother turns, confusion giving way to anger as recognition dawns. What have you done to our family? She demands, loud enough to draw stares from everyone in the marble lobby. Her voice echoes off the high ceiling, making her sound even more unhinged. My heartbeat remains steady as I reply. I think you should be asking that question of your husband and son. Mrs. Winthrop rises, her fingers stabbing the air between us. We gave you everything. We welcomed you into our home. And this is how you repay us. A security guard approaches cautiously. Mia grabs her purse, her knuckles white. He loved you. He was going to marry you. He loved himself, I correct her gently. And he was sleeping with you, remember? Her face flushes dark red. That wasn't. You don't understand. Oh, I understand perfectly. I turn to leave, but Mrs. Winthrop blocks my path. My husband built that company from nothing. 30 years of work, and you've destroyed it in a day. Your husband built it on drug money and human suffering, I say quietly. And I'm not the one who destroyed it. He did that himself, one illegal shipment at a time. Security escorts them out as they grow more volatile, making threats and accusations that bounce off me like rain on an umbrella. Through the glass doors, I watch them argue on the sidewalk, Mia gesturing wildly while Jacob's mother sobs into her designer handbag. The perfect family image they've cultivated, Ted for decades, is crumbling in real time. Their private drama is now a public spectacle. My supervisor appears at my elbow. You okay? I nod, though I'm not entirely sure it's true. They were family almost. She squeezes my shoulder. In this job, we sacrifice certain normal experiences, but we save countless others from exploitation. The words should comfort me, but they don't quite reach the hollow space in my chest. I wonder if Antoine is still waiting in Nice, if the cafe where I worked has hired someone to replace me, if the ocean there is still the impossible blue I remember. 2 days later, Jacob is extradited back to the U.S. His lawyer arranges a meeting, supposedly to discuss a cooperation agreement with prosecutors, but I know better. When I enter the conference room, Jacob looks up, his handsome face haggard with shock and betrayal. The orange jumpsuit makes him look smaller, somehow stripped of the expensive suits and confident demeanor that once seemed so integral to who he was. It was you all along, he says, his voice barely above a whisper. Everything was a lie. The irony almost makes me laugh. This from the man who told me he was working late while meeting drug suppliers, who said he wanted to build a life with me while sleeping with his sister, who promised me honesty while constructing elaborate facades to hide his family's criminal enterprise. I take the seat across from him, placing a folder on the table between us. Not everything, but enough. Jacob runs a hand through his hair, a gesture so familiar it sends an unexpected pang through me. For a moment, I see flashes of the man I thought I knew, laughing as we got caught in a sudden downpour, bringing me coffee in bed on Sunday mornings, his face intent as he explained the constellations during our weekend sailing trips. How long, he asks. How long were you investigating us? The agency had been watching your father for years. I was assigned to the case 3 months before we met. I keep my voice neutral, professional. The meeting at the gallery opening wasn't an accident. Understanding dawns in his eyes, but then us living together, the engagement that wasn't the original plan. I was supposed to get close, not? I don't finish the sentence. No need to admit how thoroughly I'd broken protocol. How completely I'd let personal feelings compromise my professional judgment. Things evolved. He reaches for my hand. I withdraw it smoothly. I still love you. He tries, desperation evident in every line of his face. We can work this out. I'll testify against my father. We can start over. I think of all the times I imagined this moment during those long nights in Switzerland. Jacob realizing he'd lost me, begging for another chance. I'd pictured satisfaction, vindication, maybe even a flash of lingering desire. Instead, all I feel is a profound weariness. Your father is facing multiple life sentences. Your company assets are frozen. The Winthrop name is synonymous with criminal enterprise now. I close the folder and push back my chair. And you want to start over. People reinvent themselves all the time, he insists, leaning forward. We could go somewhere new, somewhere nobody knows us. Use different names if necessary. And what about Mia? His expression flickers, guilt, anger, calculation. That was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. Of course it didn't. Nothing ever did beyond what it could do for him. I simply look at him, letting the silence stretch until he understands. My answer is no. Not now. Not ever. I stand to leave. Jacob makes one last attempt, his voice cracking. Everything wasn't a lie, Elise. I did love you in my way. At the door I pause. I know. That's what makes it all so sad. Outside, spring is coming to Boston. Cherry blossoms line the streets and tulips push through the soil in the public garden. New beginnings everywhere. I check my phone. There's a message from Antoine. A photo of the Mediterranean at sunset. The sea misses you, the caption reads. Simple, honest, worlds away from the complex web of lies I've been living in. For the first time in months, I feel something like hope unfurling in my chest.